What's up, Tecumseh, you amazing testament to all the things that are right about the human condition? Welcome to the Tecumseh Bicentennial Podcast. My name is Benjamin J Nichols, but in the words of Paul Simon, you can call me Al. Today we're going to provide the answer to two truths and a lie from the Matthew's House episode. For any of you music theory nerds out there, there's an Easter egg hidden in the theme music for the two truths and a lie bit. Let me know in the comments if you can identify it. We're going to interview Amy Slupe, director of the Tecumseh Center for the Arts. Today's T-Town Tale sees the return of sister duo Silvia and Ella. The title of the tale is Liver and Onions. I'm introducing a new segment called Bit O' History with Bob. If you don't yet know Bob Elliott, author of Hometown Heroes and our local historian, you are missing out. Bob Elliott is not just a font of fascinating information on Tecumseh, he's fascinating himself. He's also a decent human being who's a pleasure to be around. Time spent with Bob Elliott is time well spent, and you can quote me on that. So enjoy your drive or your job or your surgery or whatever it is that you do while you consume awesome podcasts that delight and inform, and we will get on with the show.
I am Amy Slupe, and I'm the executive director at Tecumseh Center for the Arts. Hello.
You know, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not a Tecumseh native.
You're going to say it. Yeah.
It used to be the Civic Auditorium.
Yeah, many people think it still is. Well, and in fact, it's so funny because I'm pretty new there, at least in this position, and we've been baffled about how many people still refer to us as Tecumseh Civic Auditorium. And then I've discovered throughout the course of this first year that City Hall itself still bills us out as Tecumseh Civic Auditorium. I think it has something to do just with like governmental practices, like it was established as that. And so it's recognized as that by the state.
So hard to rebrand.
Yeah. And so all of our people who we're doing business with, they're all receiving things for Tecumseh Civic. So I don't know. We might have to give up.
What is something about you, Amy Slupe? I love your last name.
Oh, thanks. It's not mine. I've adopted it now after almost 30 years, but I actually was not happy about it at all.
It's so simple and rememberable.
Yeah, my husband was a radio jock. And so on air, he was Scott Gregory, and that's all I ever knew him as.
Did you think you were going to be Amy Gregory?
Yes, I did. I was Amy Staup, S-T-A-U-P.
Okay.
And all my life, I got Amy Staup and Amy Stump and Amy Stoop and Amy Stop. And I was, yeah. And so I was all excited because I was going to be able to leave that all behind and become Amy Gregory. And then I found some of his mail and I was like, who's this?
I have the solution.
Yeah.
Just tell people, if they pronounce it wrong, just tell them it's pronounced Gregory.
Gregory. Well, that's fantastic. Yeah. Where were you 30 years ago?
What is something about you that is not a secret, but most people probably don't know?
I think my core people know it very well, but I'm an Elvis-aholic. Everything King, I'm all about it. I was raised on Elvis. So I do the lip. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For all your people who can't see me right now, I can do the Elvis lip. Everything. All Elvis, yeah. When Baz Luhrmann's Elvis came out, as an Elvis fan, the fans had been waiting so many decades for anything decent to be produced. And then the pandemic hit. And it all sunk, and they were, Tom Hanks got the COVID. And so all production ceased. And I was like, oh, what's going to happen to my Elvis movie? So when it finally came out, here's my dirty little secret. It was released in Dolby Atmos. And there are certain houses that play at that audio level. And there happens to be one in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So for the release of the movie, I bought 5 tickets to that theater in Grand Rapids. And on opening day, I was on the road at 4:30 in the morning driving to Grand Rapids so I could watch Elvis 5 times in a row in Grand Rapids.
I was going to ask who you were taking.
Yeah. No. It was just me with my blanket in a Dolby Atmos theater all day long watching
That's
Elvis
amazing.
again and again and again.
I am in no way sad about that. All right, Amy Slupe, or Amy Gregory, as the case may be. What hobbies do you have?
Oh, gosh. Well, I don't have a lot of free time. About twice a year, I crochet. I managed to do that. I do love embroidery. I really like fine needlework, embroidery. I never have the time to do it. I write music, but again, that's, few and far between now. There was a really concentrated few years where I was just really writing a lot, but that's kind of gone by the wayside. Yeah, but I'm a huge film buff.
On a personal level, that breaks my heart.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
You're a huge film buff, though.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Elvis aside,
Yeah.
favorite movie?
Field of Dreams.
All right.
Yeah, it's
Solid pick.
it's very personal to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually saw it right after my dad had died, and so it's always right there in my heart. Yeah.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I do have superpowers, don't you know?
Okay, well, there's two questions here.
Well,
because the next question is, what superpower did you get stuck with?
How do you not? How can you not
maybe you're
know
just
this?
happy with the one that you have.
I am Slooper Girl. I am Slooper Girl of Slooptopia, land of decibels. My superpower is that I am incredibly earth-shatteringly loud. I came up in the age of theater where there were no microphones. You sang over that orchestra, right? You sang over that orchestra. And if you were going to be heard, you better have that diaphragm rock solid. You better be set. So, yeah, people dubbed me Little Big Voice in Toledo when I was doing rep stuff. I just had a little bit of surgery that had to be done. And my husband told me that he made sure to get with the surgeons in advance so they'd turn my volume down during the procedure. So
Did that work out?
No. Sorry, he's mortified.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. Is that a superpower you would pick
Yeah.
if you were to pick one?
Yeah. I mean, my gosh, I could repel anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing that you've repelled with your voice alone?
Well, I'm glad it wasn't my husband at the time. I'd be in a very different place without him. No, I guess I should focus more on mosquitoes. If I could repel anything, it would be great if it could be mosquitoes.
That would be a superpower.
Yeah, my husband is unaffected by them. He can be out, we can be at the same event. Nobody can tell me that they don't know and they don't want something specific, because we can be out in the exact same event and I will come in just peppered with mosquito bites and he doesn't have a thing.
Yeah, it sounds like he has a superpower too.
That's true.
Let's pause here ever so briefly for an important follow-up. Yesterday, we had two truths and a lie from Silvia and Ella of the Matthews house. The results of your vote were that liver and onions are the lie. Let's see how you did. What was the first one?
One of us did an internship at an interior design firm.
Lie.
You don't think so? No, that is the lie.
You're right.
You're still all winners in my book. Look, on the bright side, the more we play this game, the more you get to practice your discernment. Just one more public service provided to you free of charge by the best podcast you've listened to since yesterday. Okay, back to the interview. Tell me a story that you plan on telling your grandkids.
Oh, I have lots of wonderful stories. I mentioned my dad had died. I was 20 and I was getting ready to go on a national tour of The Wizard of Oz. And my dad was very excited about that, but I was in rehearsals in Detroit for the tour to get ready. It was a children's company that went out of Detroit Institute of Arts. So I was rehearsing in Detroit, but I was still doing theater in Toledo. So I was going between those locations constantly, and I was very rarely at my little apartment in Adrian. But it just happened that the Saturday before I was going to be leaving on tour, I popped in, I was at the apartment, and I was getting ready to go to Toledo, not for anything big, but just because friends had asked me to come and hang out. And I was on my way out of my apartment, and I got to my door to leave. I put my hand on the doorknob, and I heard a voice say, "Call your dad." And I was like, what? And I stopped and I took a breath and I went, okay, that's crazy. And I put my hand on the doorknob to leave and I heard, "Call your dad." So I went upstairs and I called Daddy, and he and Mom were getting ready to go out to dinner, and they said, "Why don't we just come in and see you?" So they came to my apartment and we sat around that evening and I played piano and we sang songs. And I had just gotten a camera to take on tour with me. So I took pictures of Mom and Daddy, and Mom took pictures of Daddy and me. And at the end of the night, my dad looked at me and he said, Peanut, I'm so proud of you. This tour is everything. He said, I'm going to miss you, but you'll always be my girl. And the next day he died. But I got to have that. And at the time, I wasn't walking with God. I had left Jesus a long time earlier. But in retrospect, I can look at that and say that was a beautiful gift from God that I was given. And it's the thing that I cherish most in the world. So that will be my story.
That is an excellent story. I agree. That is a gift. That's beautiful. So what inspires you personally?
God. I'm very Jesus driven. And so I focus a lot on my faith. And I think it is my faith that allows me to have the patience to get through my days and just infuses me with the joy to do it happily and gratefully with thankfulness. So yeah, my faith is probably my most driving motivator.
And okay, so this may be the same answer. I don't know, but what do you passionately care about?
Jesus, yes, I do. Yes, I do. I love him like crazy.
I just love the way you said
that. yeah, I just do. I know. And people who know me know that's the very foundation of everything that I am. So, I value the gifts that he's given me for the arts, to be able to sing and to act and I don't know that I can say dance. I can say move well, but to be able to see big pictures and to direct and produce and to write and to do those things, that's huge. So I honor those places that he rooted and seeded within me. So I try to honor him through those things on a daily basis.
I love that. All right. If I say, what is your favorite memory in or involving Tecumseh? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
TCA. Yeah.
Wait, the Civic Auditorium?
No, Ben.
The Tecumseh Center for the Arts.
Yeah, it was the Civic when I was doing stuff there because it was the 80s. So it was really funny because I would do theater, at school. And it was middle school was the first opportunity to do actual shows. I was an APS student, so I was Adrian. And when you got to 6th grade, when you reached middle school, there was a middle school production that happened. And so I had gotten to be in the chorus of Pinocchio, and I was a balloon seller, and I got to say, bye, balloons, bye. And I did it just like that. I made it very dramatic. But Tom Sura, who was in the, beginnings of, are you still on balloons?
All I can see is you in middle school saying, what's my motivation?
I gotta offload these balloons, is what it is.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, or my kids don't eat tonight. Yeah.
Tom Sura.
So Tom Sura, who was in those beginning foundations of the TCA coming up and into existence, he was directing shows over here, and his sons were APS students. He lived in Adrian, and Matt Sura was in the show with me, his son Matt. We were in the same grade. And Tom was trying to get the kids' theater up and going over here. And so he invited me to come and be part of Finian's Rainbow. They were doing Finian's Rainbow. So I came and I was a happy little ensemble member in Finian's Rainbow. So that was, Tom Sura and Joe Cooley was choreographing, I think. And Helen Bendis was doing the vocal direction. And I think Donna Andre was doing props on that. It was all of the theatrical greats of our society at the time. So I'd gotten to do that, and I did My Fair Lady over here as well. So those were wonderful experiences.
All right. Finish this sentence. I remember when
gas was 72 cents.
So many people are out there saying, no, you don't. That's not.
No, I think I do. Yeah, and my dad delivered fuel oil for Beacon Oil Company in Adrian. It was a marathon company. He delivered fuel oil, and so in the 70s, when that big oil crisis hit. We felt it really hard in our household because that's how my dad was, putting food on the table. And I do remember that my dad could get a discount on gas through Beacon. They had, because they were a company that had to fill their big oil delivery trucks and everything. So they had their own little gas station at Beacon Oil. And my dad could get a discount there. So that's the only place that we bought gas during that big, horrible financial disaster that happened.
T-Town Tales are short stories about Tecumseh from the people who were there. Today's tale is titled Liver and Onions, and comes to us from Ella and Silvia of the Matthews House.
We are dear friends with Kyle DeWitt, who is the owner of Tecumseh Brewing Company.
We would meet up for lunch periodically on
Fridays.
Friday afternoons. I was working from home and the internet went out. And I called my sister and I said, the internet's out at my company, unknown as to when it's going back up. She's like, well, come join us for lunch. Great, I'll join you for lunch.
So we went to Danley's. My husband, Silvia, Kyle, and I. We were sitting around and my husband ordered liver and onions, and we just thought it was the weirdest
lunch option.
He's in his 30s, and we took pictures of him eating because we were just like, we need proof that here you are at like 11:30 a.m. He asked for the medium rare.
He knew he wanted them.
Yeah.
There was no backing out of it.
And a bland baked potato. We love Danley's, and so it's not like it's bad. It was no seasoning, a baked potato.
Yes.
On the side, and steamed broccoli. We were just teasing him for being so, I don't know, old man. And
It was during that meal.
if anyone knows Kyle, if he has a light bulb moment, there's no stopping him.
You brought up, I think, the photo that you took of the for sale sign, because it happened to be one of the only buildings that was up for sale in the downtown area at the time. He took that idea, and because Danley's is a local place, of course, the patrons there, one happened to be a realtor that had already seen this building. One happened to be part of the city. It was just incredible because he literally said, okay, you have this idea, let's make it happen. And he started talking to people right then and there.
Yeah, he sent out sort of like a spider web of questions to, I would say, no less than a dozen individuals. Hey, what do you know about this? How can you help here? And before we left, we already had a schedule to see the building. We had communicated with a lawyer. We talked to someone from the city. And that was Kyle just saying, if you want it, there's never any other time except for right now. And
Liver and onions made it happen.
As I ponder that story, it occurs to me that it is really a fantastic microcosm of the community spirit of Tecumseh. There's so many people here that want to help others succeed, and they provide time and even resources to build each other up. A rising tide lifts all ships, and you, Tecumseh, are a rising tide. Now, on with our interview. Amy Slupe.
Yeah.
Do you have any memories involving a Tecumseh business that you could share?
Well, my Uncle Bill owned the Ivy Gallery that was downtown Tecumseh for, I don't know how long. It was a lot of years. Yeah, Bill Zetlow, he was a framer. When I was really little, they lived right next door. I'm in that situation where my great-grandparents had farmland, and so they gave away property to the family to build on. So we were all in a row in this weird little, compound situation. So my uncle was right next door, and when they started, they were framing out of their basement. And so he and my Aunt Bev, Uncle Bill and Aunt Bev would go downstairs every day to frame, and because there wasn't Hobby Lobby. You couldn't get frames for your photos or for your artwork unless you had a framer. And so they did that every day, and I would go over and kind of babysit my little cousin while they were downstairs doing that. And it was a very big deal when he was financially solid enough with the business to be able to purchase that downtown building, downtown Tecumseh, for Ivy Gallery.
Do you have any memories involving a Tecumseh park?
Ironically, Bird Park, which is right next to the TCA property, my husband and our children, we were all at Bird Park, and our youngest, Ella, fell into the river. There. So, yeah, she was pretty devastated, but,
Pretty memorable. How old was she when it happened?
3.5, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, little, very little. Yeah.
So was it one of those things where she was, I'm drowning? Or was it, This sucks.
Yeah,
3 years old, it's hard to tell.
It was that. It was,
I gotta go home now.
I'm all wet. Yeah.
Okay.
It was that.
I'm glad she's okay.
She did survive it. Yeah. Yeah, she has a third eye because of it.
That'll happen in that river.
I know. You can't tell. Yeah.
What hopes do you have for the future of Tecumseh?
Oh, that the arts would thrive and everyone would know that the TCA exists and they'd all come to see all the wonderful things that are going on. Because, oh my gosh, we're crazy cool. Like, I don't know that everybody realizes just how sick we are, but we are killing it over there. We are killing it like a boss at the TCA. So, just great artists. I'm super excited about this upcoming season. Yeah, I'm saying it's going to be rowdy. So, yeah.
So what shows do you have coming this summer?
Well, this summer, we kind of hunker down so that we can, do all the things.
But I know you have something coming this summer.
Tend to the theater. Well, we have summer camp.
We have
summer camp that's the 8th through the 12th, right, at the TCA. But yes, there may be a fantastic radio show happening live on stage
As a
at
matter
the
of
TCA.
fact, there will be.
What?
It's so true.
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
I can't believe it's going to be amazing.
And Amy, how much does it cost?
It's free.
Free?
Free.
Get out of here.
Oh, I can't. Would I lie?
No,
I wouldn't. No,
absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
It is free. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Big band, TCA big band, and community chorus, and a whole collection of artists that you're bringing in to do magical stuff. So
it's not actual magic, just so nobody gets confused. It's just mostly jokes and singing.
The feeling that you get in your heart while you're watching the show, magical. Magical, yes.
It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Which I think I sent you, did I send you Don Juan?
Yes.
I sent you something.
Is it the ballad?
Yes, the Ballad of Don Juan.
The Ballad of Don Juan.
Yeah.
Hey, I am pretty excited about that since I was the one who even told you about Don Juan.
You are where it started. It's exactly right.
So that's awesome.
Which is funny because you were my first one who told me that. But one of the questions that I've asked when I've done the business owner interviews is, do you have any fun facts about Tecumseh? And I cannot tell you how many of them have said.
Cite the Don Juan.
Don Juan is buried here.
Look at that.
Yep. And so you get to hear his whole story. And it's 98% true. I mean,
that's crazy.
The only liberties taken with it really are in the actual telling of but the story itself, as told in the ballad, it's a true story.
That's so great.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Yeah,
because I thought, wow, he got really imaginative with this. So
no. I do my research.
Okay, all right.
I don't want to come in. I don't like going halfway. So I do my research and make sure and that's why it has 2 endings, because I'm finding conflicting reports on the ending.
Okay, all right.
That's why I was like, you know what?
We'll just throw them in.
You can choose your adventure.
Oh, that's great. But yes, for the future, I would love, the arts are that thing that they're just there until they're in jeopardy. And they're always the thing that's in jeopardy because there are always other things that people are going, well, we absolutely have to have this and we absolutely have to have this in order to live. But I am going to say there is a very big difference between thriving and surviving. If you take some sod and you plop it down on asphalt and you water it, it will survive there. But it's never going to grow beyond what its little patch is until you put it into actual soil and plant it. And then it will thrive. And that's what the arts do for us. They take us beyond just surviving the grind of our everyday existence. And they let us thrive with the joy and the revelation and the magic that just comes from everything that the arts are. We need them. Come. Yes, let the arts explode in Tecumseh.
What advice or message do you have for the people of Tecumseh 100 years from now when they're celebrating their tricentennial?
Love. I just have to say love. Just absolute love. And that love that is selfless and that's sacrificial and that is judgment-free. We are free to just love each other fully and wholly and completely. Just be doing that, Tecumseh. Be loving each other really well.
In today's Bit O History with Bob, Bob Elliott reveals some interesting information about Tecumseh's founder, Musgrove Evans, and his son, George.
He was a go-getter too. I mean, he gets his son down in Texas and plants crops right away before the rest of them get down there. And you imagine moving all the way to Texas from Michigan, in the 1830s too. It just had to be remarkable to pick up pieces and move, incredible. But I think he was an adventurous too. I think he, being a surveyor, and I think his religious beliefs too. And he didn't drink. He was probably one of the earliest in that capacity. It's crazy to think about his youngest son, who comes back here in 1871 to visit his mom's grave and his brother and sister's grave. Comes back to Tecumseh from California. He's a remarkable guy too. He's a Texas Ranger. He goes out to find gold in the 1840s in California. And some of his ordeals, he becomes a cavalry officer in the Civil War. He becomes a brigadier general in the American Civil War for the Union and becomes mayor of Stockton, California. He becomes a state senator out there. He's just renowned, has a huge state funeral out there when he passes away. But he made his fortune selling alcohol. That was his, so the apple fell very far from the tree there.
I guess so. And that's going to do it for episode number 2 of the Tecumseh Bicentennial Podcast. Remember, the best way to tell your friends and family that you love them is to share this show with them. Tune in tomorrow as we talk with chocolatiers Matt and Elizabeth of Harvest Chocolate, and we're introduced to an exciting superhero adventure starring Sloopergirl of Slooptopia, Land of the Decibels. Have the best day ever, Tecumseh.